Have you ever thought, I can run a business, but I can't seem to figure out my own body? And maybe you've never said it out loud, but I'm guessing you've probably thought it because I see this all the time. Women who can make complex decisions, solve problems quickly, lead teams, and build really exceptional businesses. But when it comes to their own body, it suddenly feels like guesswork. And apparently, you're just supposed to know how to read it. Welcome to the Decode Your Body podcast. I'm your host, Tasha Miller. For female entrepreneurs, time and attention matter. Managing symptoms that don't make sense costs both. You already know how to lead, and this is where that leadership extends to your health. You are the CEO of your body. I've honestly had days like this with my work. I'll sit down to create a podcast episode and think, okay, this should take 2 hours total. Ideate the podcast episode, record it, edit it, upload it, done. And then there are days where that exact same process takes 2 freaking days. I reread what I wrote yesterday and think, what is wrong with me today? I can't think. And the whole thing ends up in my archived file of shame and I start over. Please tell me that I'm not the only one. And maybe for you, it's not a podcast episode. Maybe it's writing something for work that should take 20 minutes. And sometimes it takes 2 hours, or answering emails, or it's not even work at all. Maybe it's one of those days where you're overthinking things you normally wouldn't. Little things irritate you more than they should. You have less patience for the smallest of things, and your digestion just feels off, and you're tired of feeling bloated again. And if you're running a business, this actually matters more than people talk about because your work depends on how clearly you can think, your ability to write, make decisions, communicate well. And when your brain is not on, everything takes more effort than it should. And if you're also a mom, which I know many of you are, you can handle clients all day, solve problems, have really good conversations, but then supper comes and someone asks you one more question and suddenly your patience, it's just not there. You love your kids, but part of you is thinking, can everyone just stop talking for 5 minutes? And then you feel bad for thinking that. And I think this all the time. Why weren't we taught this somewhere? School, health class, anywhere. We learned math, we learned history, we learned how to diagram sentences, but understanding how your own body works, not in the traditional biology way, but somehow that never made the curriculum. So when something shifts like your energy, your digestion, your focus, or your mood, it just feels random. And that's really frustrating because you're smart. You solve problems for a living. That's literally how you built a business. But your own body feels like the one thing you can't quite figure out. This reminds me of driving before GPS existed. Do you remember that? Like if I had to go to the city, I'd have a paper map sitting in the passenger seat and I would literally take a highlighter before I went, mark the entire route before I left the house, every single turn, every highway. And I thought I was prepared. And then I'd get to the city and there would be one of those giant traffic circles and suddenly none of it made sense. I remember circling one of those things 5 times. 5 times. And it's not like you can pick up a map and put it in front of you during rush hour. And at that point, I was mad and I cried. And tell me I'm not the only one who cries when they're mad sometimes. I was just hoping I would somehow figure out which exit I was supposed to take, which I know sounds super dramatic, but in that moment, I honestly thought if I got lost, I'd never get home. Do you ever feel that in your body where nothing quite makes sense? You're still getting to where you're going. You're still running your business, taking care of your family. But when something shifts in your body, your emotions, or the way you're thinking, what do? Do you Google it? Do you drink more coffee? Tell yourself, I'll just deal with it later? Because when you don't have a clear way to understand what's happening, that's usually what it looks like. Your energy gets really low, probably tired, feel like sleeping in the afternoon. Your focus, it just disappears and your digestion feels off. And you're circling that traffic circle, hoping something starts to make sense. And when you're an entrepreneurial mom, your body is what you're running everything through. Your clarity, your patience, your creativity, the decision-making. And when your body feels unpredictable, everything just gets so much harder. You're not incapable. You need your body to be an asset, not a liability in your life, but it keeps shifting on you. And you're smart enough to know that something's not adding up. You just haven't been shown what to look for yet. Now, when you understand your body, you notice the shifts. You read your symptoms like data, and instead of guessing, you analyze it the same way you would recognize a pattern in your business numbers. You see it earlier, you know what you're looking at. Suddenly, your body isn't the one thing in your life you can't figure out. It becomes something you understand. And most women have this moment where they think, gosh, I wish I knew this sooner. Your body shouldn't be the one thing in your life you don't know how to read, not when it affects how clearly you need to think, how you work, and how much you have left to give your family at the end of the day. When you can recognize the patterns that your body runs, symptoms stop feeling random and they start making sense. And that's exactly what I walk you through in my upcoming training called Stop Guessing Your Symptoms. Inside it, I'll show you the 3 body types and the 3 patterns of imbalance. So you can start recognizing what your body is doing instead of guessing all the time. And most women recognize themselves surprisingly quickly once they see it laid out. The waitlist is open now at tashamiller.co/waitlist. Once you can see the pattern your body is running and understand your body type, your body stops feeling like a mystery, symptoms stop feeling random, and your body supports your business and your life instead of interrupting it. Now, if you've been here a while, you might notice that today's episode came out on a Wednesday. In the future, new episodes will be coming out on Wednesdays instead of Tuesdays from now on because, well, it turns out this schedule works better with my body, and we always need to listen to our bodies and read them well. I will see you back here next Wednesday. Thank you for spending time with me today. If you enjoyed this episode, tap follow and leave a 5-star review down below. I read every single one and it helps more women find this podcast. If you want to keep the conversation going, head to tashamiller.co for resources, offers, and all the ways to connect with me.